saying Côte d'Ivoire is sounds much better than the Ivory Coast. I think like now going there, Ivory Coast has like a gentrified ting to it. You know, when you say the Ivory Coast, when it's like, nah, put some respect on them.
Bonjour, avec l'aimable autorisation d'Air France. Nous sommes heureux de vous accueillir en Côte d'Ivoire. La température est de 33 degrés.
Life has been good. Good to be back. Um, so many rooms I've been able to walk into for growth and add some water to them, maintain the growth that's been happening. I've finally, got to work with a very big client, and I can't wait to share that. Um, you kind of like, as a TV junkie, one of the things that annoyed you, but also like you kind of look and say like, yo, people create these things, and you kind of always wanted to be a part of that world. And I finally got to make my first commercial. I've done so many other things in this world, content creation, worked with a couple cool agencies, worked with some not so good agencies, but it was truly a pleasure to be able to executive produce and also direct my first commercial, and it was quite a blast. So many learnings, so many things you think you're prepared for, and you're not. And the beautiful thing I love about filmmaking, which is why when I'm talking to younger people, I kind of like tell them, if you're not going to school, to kind of like fill in the gaps for like theory and how to do certain things. Film school might be a waste of money and time, because most of the learnings you're gonna need is actually when you're at play. You have to be on the field, in the field, getting it, and you have to make mistakes and you have to learn. And yes, I know sometimes being a black filmmaker, you don't get those same liberties that our counterparts do, but I think the only way through it is to just make those mistakes, make them fast, learn, be a great problem solver, critical thinker. But I still have so much to go, and I'm happy about that. So yeah, I guess the reason for the season, more trips. Just recently came back from Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire was, you see how that sounds? Côte d'Ivoire. I think I will probably never say the Ivory Coast again. The experience there was amazing. I learned so much. The people are beautiful. I think once again, like taking a break from visiting European countries and going to reconnect with the diaspora of where I'm from, you get to see so many people. When you look them in the eyes, there's some type of familiarity. And although like some people kind of detest the idea that we were in America before any Europeans stepped foot on this ground, I strongly believe in that. I know it's a fact, and I definitely feel like, yeah, you see these people and you see yourself, But then the only downside to it is you see these people and you see the suffrage in their eyes from the after effects of colonialism and what it has done. And you kind of like not take your eyes off America, but you start to look at these other European superpowers and you go, wow, y'all really did a number on the world. I think the French, besides the Portuguese, I think the French is like number 2, because unlike America, the French has straight up destroyed and just took all the resources out of so many countries, besides America. America is a warmongering country. We kind of like did a lot of our work on the back end of today. But when you're thinking hundreds of years of just pillaging, violating, and crying boohoo tears to the world, the French, yeah, y'all got some mirror work to do. So day one, we checked into the Palmier Hotel, which was very nice. It was very beautiful. They had like, pool. They would play jazz at night. the espresso martinis was amazing. We had dinner there, breakfast there. They had a gym. There was a lot of things that the hotel had going for it. And if I went back to Côte d'Ivoire, it would definitely be the place where I would stay.
The ambassadors, even the president and ministers live in this area.
Oh man, no, we with the problems.
But Côte is big because
Okay.
you have very rich areas, and you have some areas that are just middle class.
Okay.
And then we have this. This other side is where some poor people live.
Mhm.
Now, this part is the biggest part, the biggest district in Abidjan. It starts from here and it's divided by the lagoon.
Yeah.
And it's really big. And then we have some other smaller ones. Now we are heading here.
Okay.
We are going to Plateau.
So we took a tour around Côte d'Ivoire. We got to see the Jamé market, which is like, I think, the second largest market in Africa, in West Africa. And boy, it was wild to see, you know, like the kids were playing soccer inside the market where it looked like power wasn't even available. It just show you the ingenuity of our people. But it was definitely like one of those markets you see in action movies where they're like shooting and running through, and it's raw meat and animals, and it was everything. Like a lot of things happening all at once. So then, like at the end of the tour, we kind of made our way to another town in Côte d'Ivoire where they primarily make a lot of this grain named acheke. And acheke is like phenomenal. And I think in many ways it's sort of like a quinoa, but they use cassava where they like grind it and make it into these small little balls. And they like usually like either make it like a rice base, like not a rice base, but it's like it serves as the purpose of rice to replace rice, or they like put it in a stew or things of that nature. So after like seeing the process and like, you know, I didn't make it, but like I did some of the actions that like, you know, made it, but I didn't make it. But I just watching that experience was like, wow. And like how much work goes into just making like a 5-pound bag of it, and how they're fighting to fight other markets from, because a lot of like the Asian community come and they build these factories and they use the cassava plant to make a cheke, but like at a higher manufacturing rate, and they are basically outbeat in productivity the actual people. And this is the thing that like kind of bothers me, because it's like, why would the government allow these companies to come here and mass produce these things when the government can give the people the infrastructure to mass produce it, in which the government can get money to actually put other places for needs in the country? It's kind of silly, you know, but it just shows you how corruption happens. Like they pay these government officials and they just let them do whatever they want. But making a cheke was top notch, crazy experience. Actually only got to eat it once while in Côte d'Ivoire, and I'll get to that later, but yeah, it was amazing. So on one of our days, well, evenings there, we went to jazz night and we heard some great music. And this amazing talented artist, which I'll put right here, you'll see her. Um, she went in there and she rocked the house. We was able to enjoy our martinis, feel real grown and sexy. I had a cigar, we was vibing, and then we met up with an acquaintance of Sarah that, her building her community worldwide. They came out and had fun with us, and they actually took us to the club. Yeah, like out of all the places we've traveled around the world, I don't really think we actually hit a club, because I also don't hit clubs in America. So it was definitely an experience. Yeah, it was like a real circus in there, man. And so we are out past our curfew. We just now getting home. It is now 4:35 in the morning in Abidjan. After having a fun night out at the jungle, at the Blue Note Cafe, we had a great time. It was a vibe. I bid you adieu, and I am going to bed because tomorrow we are gonna have a great time as we make our way to Bassam. Grand Bassam. And we stayed at this artist residency home, and he would invite artists to come and like develop their art, which was great. And he's so tapped into the art world in Cote d'Ivoire, and it was just amazing to see. Like, we're in this big house, and is where we met Nadej, and Nadej was the lady that took care of the home, and she cooked. And boy, when I tell you, she gave us the best meal that I've had in Cote d'Ivoire. Oh, listen, home nothing beats a home cooked meal, and her hands was blessed, cause although while we were eating, it was like 1,000 flies attacking us in the food. I fought the flies to eat my food. I didn't care, cause that shit was fire. The next morning in Bassam, we woke up to go take a walk and find coffee, which was very hard. So if you're looking for a latte in Bassam, forget about it. Just get ready to drink black coffee. And we seen a parade, and it was all of these beautiful black people dressed in yellow garb, uh, just taken to the streets and just talking. And I wanted to ask them 1,000 questions, but one of the things about Cote d'Ivoire is that the local language is French, and yeah, the barrier was crazy. Like no English words. So at this point, you just have to sit and observe, and just watch it for all that it is. These folks are embracing their culture. My one thing was that it was, I guess these people were Catholic. And the one thing that drives me crazy is white angelic figures and white Jesus. Oh my gosh, I don't care. White Jesus runs me up a wall, because it's like the Bible happened in Africa. So why are we showing a white Jesus? Why have the Catholic Church have not detested this image? that we all know is false. I think one of the biggest things that could change in the world on how whiteness sees other people of color is if you saw Jesus looking like a black man that you are assaulting and impeding any racial epithet at, you wouldn't do that, because the person who you worship and say is this miracle and gift to man from God himself look like these people, you wouldn't treat them that way. It's literally like the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, so that is why I could never be a Catholic person. I could never be a Mormon. And if I go to your Christian church and you have a picture of white Jesus up, I am not attending your church. Point blank, period. Because fundamentally, there are just some things that are just, it's wrong. And you have turned a blind eye to approach any of those things. And if you have a white Jesus up in your church, then you're kind of telling people, you're basically intrinsically brainwashing your constituents to believe in this European propaganda. So I'm not tapping into it. We also went to go spend a day in Assini, which is another beach town. And Assini was, wow. It's probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. Kind of like relaxed, rekindled, found a moment to just like be with each other, and yeah, it was just beautiful. And yeah. are on the voyage. We are in Assini, Côte d'Ivoire, and we are going to the beach. Finally, getting in some water. I got my sunscreen, and yeah, it's gonna be a great time. Got my favorite lady with me. Hey, Rods. She doesn't say hi much, but we're here. We're having a good time. Côte d'Ivoire is a beautiful place. I definitely think everyone should take time out to try to give them a visit, look at all the things they have going on, get connected with the people. Just walking through these villages and walking through the main market street in Bassam, it's just like you see all of these people and they're living their lives. And although like we feel like we have this sense of comfortability and luxury in America, I think sometimes it could be like false and misleading to the world, because we have all of our struggles and you see them and they're living like their best lives. They're living a full life, and they're not thinking about half the things we think about in the country. So I think less is more. Yeah, you don't know what you don't know, and you can't miss what you don't have or never had or experienced. And yeah,